I drink coffee, I talk watches. But not at the same time. I'm too animated. I'd end up spilling it. Hello, 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 and welcome to Just One More Watch.
Hello everyone, welcome to Average Joe Watch Reviews, where we do more than just reviews. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, I would like to welcome you to the channel. And please, if you are here for the first time, please subscribe and join the Average Joe Watch Review family. I actually respond to every comment down below, and I'm also on Instagram. You can follow me right here. And I like to talk watches with anyone that reaches out to me, so please feel free to follow me on Instagram and send me a DM. But that's not why you guys are here. You guys are here for my special guest, and let me tell you something, I don't blame you. This guy is one of the top 5 watch YouTubers in the world, and I have him on the channel today. And let me tell you something, this is an extremely humbling experience for me, because he's the reason why I actually started my YouTube channel. I've watched him when he was at 40,000 subscribers, and he has blown up ever since. And it gives guys like me motivation to continue to move forward and stick with what you love. And I love what I do. So my guest is actually from Sydney, Australia, but he was originally from Scotland. And he has recently graduated with a modern history degree. He has his PhD from Sydney's Macquarie University. My guest, Jody, from Just One More Watch, has almost 150,000 subscribers to date. And let me tell you something, we're looking at July 4th weekend, 2020. This guy just grows at an extremely rapid pace. So for those of you that don't follow him, I'm going to put his link down below. So with no further ado, I want to welcome my special guest, Jody from Just One More Watch. Hello, Jody. Welcome to Average Joe Watch Reviews.
Hello, Average Joe. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for extending the invitation. It is great to be here, great to appear on your channel, on your show.
It is a pleasure to have you on the channel. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I mean, you upload 3 times a week. I don't know how you do it. But before we get into that, can you give us a brief rundown on what got you into watches and what started you on YouTube?
I suspect that my story is the same as for a lot of guys. My dad really got me into watches. You know, I grew up in the 1980s when digital watches were, a real cutting edge technology, and I have got a massive collection of Casios. Casio calculator watches were everywhere. But my dad has always been a bit of a watch guy, not a huge collector. I mean, he's a collector, he collects other things, but he's always had 2 or 3 decent watches, and he made sure that I could tell the time on a traditional analog watch face, and then as soon as I could, I was straight into my first Casio watches, and that is a love for the brand that has not diminished. I genuinely, Casio are my favorite two or 3 watch brands for sure. YouTube, why did I start on YouTube? Well, I work at the Opera House, and one of my colleagues there, another kind of my horror bro, another guy that's big into watches, a guy called Ken, told me about this YouTube channel. It must have been about 2015. A guy called the Urban Gentry, TGV, perhaps you've heard of him. And I started watching TGV, started getting into the hobby again. As I said, I've always had a decent collection, but started buying watches after watching his videos. I'm sure I'm not alone in that respect. And I ended up with a decent number of watches, and I thought I could do this. So I made a bet with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. At the time, I made 2 pretty scruffy videos at the tail end of 2016, and I said, I bet I can make YouTube videos and I can get 2,500 views by Christmas. And I didn't quite make it by Christmas. I think I hit that target by about the new year, but I had a lot of fun, chatting with people in the comments section, and so I started taking it more seriously at the beginning of 2017, making videos semi-regularly. And then in the middle of 2017, I bought DSLR camera and softboxes and a bit of equipment. Went in front of the lens for the first time, and here we are today, 3 years later, 500 videos, 100,000 subscribers, pretty much from nowhere. It certainly wasn't a planned thing, it was just something that happened, but it has been fantastic. Really kind of has changed my life. I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it has.
So Jody, what brought you to Australia from Scotland?
Well, I moved to Sydney from Glasgow in 2003, so just over 17 years ago. I came over with my now ex-Scottish girlfriend. She was an accountant and she worked for one of the big four accountancy firms, and there was, and I assume that there still is, a kind of regular trade back and forth of bodies, workers, manpower from various offices, London to Melbourne, Perth to Leeds and so on. And so she applied for a 1-year secondment and got it. So we sold up. Neither of us had ever been to Australia before, so it was pretty much not quite on a whim, but a bit of a risky manoeuvre for us. Packed up a couple of suitcases, got on the plane, and haven't gone back since then. Or at least, been back for plenty of holidays, but neither of us have moved back to Scotland anyway. We split up a few years ago, but she's still here, I'm still here, so clearly we found something that we'd enjoyed in Sydney. I think it was day 3 or 4, we went down to Bondi Beach, the infamous Bondi Beach, and I said to her, I'm not going back. Scotland is a beautiful place, beautiful country, great people, but miserable weather. And this was in the middle of winter in Sydney, and it was kind of shorts and t-shirts weather. And I think that's one of the great reasons why neither of us have gone back.
So I have to ask, has YouTube become a full-time job yet? And also, do you still work as a manager at the Sydney Opera House?
Well, I'm in a bit of a, I suppose I'm in a bit of a tricky spot with YouTube at the moment. I'm dedicating a lot of hours to it, and really it's kind of becoming my full-time job, but I'm still in full-time studies. I think you gave me a bit of credit where none is due. I'm halfway through a PhD in modern history at a local university, so full-time studies, full-time YouTube, and I'm still working part-time as a theatre manager at the Opera House, so I don't have a lot of free time, but I manage to just about keep it all in balance at the moment. I try and stick to a schedule, but it doesn't always work. So yes, I still work at the Opera House, although I haven't worked at the Opera House since March when it shut abruptly, and we're not really too sure when the theatres are going to be reopening. Yeah, nobody's too sure about anything at the moment. So yes, I still work at the Opera House. I've been working there really since 2006. So not long after I arrived in Sydney, I got a job working in hospitality. I worked in hospitality for many years before going back to full-time studies in about 2012. So I worked for the hospitality department of the Opera House, used to run weddings and big functions and so on. And now I manage the theatres, so if you come to an opera or something, I'm the man in the suit with the radio, pressing the buttons, the bing bongs to get you into the theatres. So it's busy, it's a really odd kind of mixture of things to do with myself, but somehow it kind of all works for me.
So how many hours a week do you dedicate to YouTube? And also, how do you balance life and work, since you do upload about 3 videos per week?
Well, like I said, I'm probably putting in, if not full-time hours, then I do 2 full days, 2 12-hour days on YouTube each week, plus other stuff around it. So I'm probably putting about 30 hours into YouTube. Really, I get, some of the bigger videos, some of the list videos, the top 10, top 15 stuff can take me a full day, can take me 12, 13 hours. The shorter ones, even then, they take 6, 7 hours by the time I edit, process, upload and tag and so on. So it is a bit tricky balancing that out. I don't have kids. I know you have kids. Your daughter looks beautiful, by the way. Lots of hair on her head as well. I don't have any kids, so maybe that makes it a bit easier for me. I don't have that in my life yet, but perhaps in a few years to come, here's hoping. But that's only going to make things trickier, I appreciate.
Can you share a fun fact about yourself that maybe subscribers of your channel wouldn't know? For me, the fun fact would be I actually used to be a landscape painter, and I'm actually going to run a couple of paintings that I've done. And it's something that I've done for a couple years, and unfortunately I don't do it anymore, but it's something like kind of riding a bike. that I can totally get back into if I want to. But is there something that you do that no one else who subscribes to your channel wouldn't know?
They are very impressive. I am not artistic in the slightest, so I'm always envious of people who can paint or sing or sculpt or do any of that. I can't really do any of that. Something that subscribers wouldn't know, probably that they can guess, I'm a bit of a tinkerer. I do a few mod vids, not entirely successfully always, I'm quite honest about that. But I've always been a bit of a tinkerer, though not entirely successfully. You know, build my own bikes from component parts, build my own computers from component parts. And the only thing I am not stupid enough to try is cars, because cars are really expensive. So I still tinker and modify cars, but I let other people do that for me. I don't take that on myself. So perhaps something they don't know, but perhaps something they could have guessed looking at my video history.
So what made you choose modern history as a major in college? And also, what are you going to do with it once you graduate?
Well, like I said, I'm not quite finished yet. Indeed, I'm only about halfway through. I'm not quite 2 years into PhD, but I went back to full-time college, full-time university education in 2012, did a bachelor, then a master, and now I'm kind of almost at the end of that journey with a PhD. I should now be handing in my thesis at the end of 2021. Modern history, well, really, it's kind of politics, history, and Asian studies. So I'm doing something kind of in between. Australia geographically is over on this side of the world, and you know, big trade partners with China, Indonesia and so on, so I thought I would do something kind of Asian focused. Really fascinated by Chinese history, incredibly tumultuous 20th century history China. A lot of people see China today, but they don't see why China today is the way it is today, so I was kind of fascinated by that. I wanted to do something kind of live, something that still has a bearing in today's environment, but it's historical. So that's why modern history. So I wasn't interested in ancient Greece, ancient Rome. What I want to do with the degree, probably not a lot, to be honest. Really, this has been for my own benefit. It has been to challenge myself, to keep my brain moving, and because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process. It has taught me discipline that I lacked when I was a teenager and in my 20s, so it's kind of retrained me to an extent. It would be great to continue on in the university system here somewhere. It'd be great to do a bit of tutoring perhaps online. I did my bachelor's online, so it'd be great to go back into that online system that I was a product of. But again, who knows where the Australian universities are going to be in a few years' time. Their whole business model that relies so heavily on foreign students is out the window at the moment, as they say.
So I just did a video on my channel on how I bought a fake watch, and it happened to be a Luminox on eBay. Luminox did actually reach out to me, and they sent me an authentic watch, which is awesome. But I wanted to know, have you ever received a fake watch unknowingly? And also, do you have any tips for viewers in regards to how to buy authentic watches and avoid buying a fake like I did?
Well, yes, I bought a Franken Seiko from India on eBay. I think it's almost a rite of passage that everybody has to buy a Franken Seiko from eBay from India. It was purple, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that Seiko do purple watches. And of course, Seiko don't do purple watches. It was a repainted dial. I bought it. It wasn't awful, but it was straight back on eBay the next week. But I sold it as a Franken Seiko, and somebody else bought it on that basis. I have bought a fake watch knowingly. I did a video about Wish. It was a fake Seiko Sarb. I get so many emails. Hey Jody, I saw this Seiko Turtle on Wish for $43. Should I buy it? The answer is, well, maybe. I don't know. If you want something that isn't a Seiko Turtle but costs $43, then go for it. These websites, the bottom line is, if it looks too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true. And that is the best piece of advice that I could give anybody who is buying a watch. I sold a friend's Rolex a couple of weeks ago, and the guy I sold it to wanted to get it verified. So we went to a well-known watchmaker in the middle of Sydney, And he paid 100 Aussie or something to have the watch, you know, taken apart and tested, and the guy checked the movement and so on, gave it the thumbs up. But he said earlier on that day they had had a Rolex Deep Sea come through for a fake test, and it was a fake. And the guy had paid 1,500 Aussie dollars for it. And you know, if you're gonna pay $1,500 for a Rolex Deep Sea, then you're buying a fake. So if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, guys, that's part one of the two-part series of my interview with Jody from Just One More Watch. You definitely won't want to miss part two of the interview. So if you don't want to miss it, please subscribe to the channel. And also, very importantly, hit that notification bell so that you are alerted as to when the next video will drop. You won't want to miss what Jody has to say in part two. So thank you very much for joining me on Average Joe Watch Reviews. I'll see you guys next time.